Bend down in your garden and scoop up a handful of soil. It sits there in your palm, dark and crumbly and plain. It looks like nothing at all, just ordinary brown dirt. Something dead, dirty, and completely lifeless. But that could not be further from the truth, because the handful of soil you're holding is fully alive. In fact, it is one of the most crowded places on Earth. It holds more living creatures than there are people in the whole world. A vast, hidden civilization far too small for you to see. And it quietly does the work that keeps your whole garden alive. Today, you'll finally learn what is really living in your soil, and you'll never think of it as just dirt again. Welcome back to What the Garden Knows, where your yard has been speaking and we finally learned to listen. Let's begin with a number that is almost impossible to believe. Take that one single handful of ordinary healthy garden soil resting there in your palm. Within it live billions upon billions of tiny living creatures. That is more living things than there are people on all of the earth. And all of it is held in just one small handful of ordinary dirt. Almost every single one of them is far too small for you to see. So, to your eye, the soil looks completely still, quiet, and lifeless. But under a strong microscope, it would be teeming and swarming with life. It is, in truth, one of the most crowded places on the whole planet. Nowhere else on Earth holds more living things packed so tightly together. The plain soil beneath your feet is not dead at all, not even close. In every pinch of it, a whole hidden world is quietly at work. It is the busiest, most crowded neighborhood that you will ever stand upon. And yet almost no one ever stops to think about it for a moment. So let's take a closer look and meet a few of the creatures in your hand. But those first tiny workers are only the very beginning of this hidden world. Stranger and stranger creatures are still waiting for us in that handful. If this tiny world beneath your feet amazes you, tell me about it in the comments. And do consider subscribing, because there is so very much more to see. The first secret is the smallest, and by far the most numerous of them all. In just a single teaspoon of good, healthy garden soil, there live many billions of bacteria. Not hundreds and not thousands, but many, many billions of them. And they come in many thousands of different kinds, all mixed together. In one small pinch, there are more of them than you could ever count. They are the very tiniest living things in the whole of the soil. And they are also the great, tireless workers of that hidden world. All day and all night long, they patiently break down dead material, old fallen leaves, dead roots, and the remains of other small creatures. And as they feed, they release the rich nutrients locked away inside. Those freed nutrients then slowly become food for your growing plants. So this vast, invisible workforce is quietly feeding your entire garden. Think of them as billions of tiny cooks preparing the soil's food. Billions of them laboring away in every single handful of soil you hold. You will never once see a single one of them at their work. And yet without them, nothing in your garden could ever grow at all. They are the quiet foundation on which your whole garden stands. The second secret is a hidden web that runs all through the soil. Alongside the bacteria, there live vast networks of fine fungal threads. They are far too thin to ever notice with your naked eye, but the threads from just one handful of soil might stretch for many miles, all tangled together. These threads weave through the ground below like a fine living net, and that living net helps to hold the soil together in soft crumbs. It is part of the reason that good soil feels so soft and crumbly. In a way, the plants above are joined to a hidden network below. These fungal threads also reach right out to the roots of your plants, and there They form a quiet and truly remarkable partnership together. This is the famous bond that quietly helps feed much of the world. The threads reach out and gather up water and food from both near and far, and they trade it all to the plant in return for a little sugar. So the fungi and your plants are quietly helping one another to live. The plant feeds the fungus, and in turn, the fungus feeds the plant. It is another hidden bond woven right through that one handful of soil. If you are enjoying this journey down into the soil, take a quick moment and tap that like button for me. It truly helps these quiet garden secrets reach so many more curious people. The third secret is that the soil is truly a whole jungle in miniature, because it is not only bacteria and fungi that are living down there. That one handful of soil holds a whole world of tiny creatures. There are pale, microscopic worms, each one far smaller than a single grain of salt. There are tiny springtails and mites, and a great many others besides. And they all live down there exactly as animals do in a great forest. Some of them graze quietly and peacefully upon the bacteria and the fungi, and others are fierce little hunters, chasing down and eating that very prey. There are predators and there is prey, all together in a single spoonful. It is a complete food web hidden away right there beneath the grass. And moving through it all are the earthworms, the great diggers of the soil. They tunnel through the ground, mixing and stirring everything up as they go. They pull the dead leaves down deep and slowly turn the whole soil world over. So that one quiet handful is really a bustling, crowded, and living jungle. It is full of grazers, hunters, and diggers that you will simply never see. So the soil is full of workers, threads, and tiny little hunters. But here is the one secret that you can actually smell for yourself. The fourth secret is a wonderful one that you have known your whole life. Think for a moment of the smell of fresh soil, deep and earthy and sweet. And especially think of that wonderful, unmistakable smell in the air just after the rain. You have breathed it in 1,000 times before without a single thought. Well, that beautiful earthy smell is actually made by living things. Certain tiny creatures living in the soil quietly release a special scent. That very scent has its own name, and it rises straight up from the ground. And our own noses are astonishingly good at picking that scent up. We can smell even the very faintest trace of it in the open air. When the rain falls down onto dry soil, it stirs that scent right up, and it drifts gently up into the air for you to breathe in. So that lovely earthy smell after the rain is really life itself. The scent of the earth is really the breath of the living soil. You are quite literally smelling the living soil hard at its work. So the next time it rains, do step outside and breathe it deeply in. You are smelling billions of tiny living creatures right beneath your feet. It is one of the loveliest smells in all of nature, and it is alive. The fifth secret is the great and vital work that all this life is doing. Because every single creature down in that soil shares one quiet task. Together, all of them are patiently turning death into new life again. They quietly take everything that has died and fallen down onto the ground, the old leaves, the dead roots, and the remains of small creatures. And they slowly break it all down into rich, dark, living soil. And from that, they gently release the food that your plants need. For here is a simple truth that surprises a great many gardeners. Your plants cannot actually eat the plain dead dirt itself at all. They are fed instead by this hidden workforce living within it. The soil life quietly prepares all of their meals day after day. So a soil that is full of life is also a soil that is full of food.
And that is the real secret behind every truly thriving garden. Feed the life in your soil, and it will feed your plants in return. It is the oldest and wisest rule in all of good gardening. The sixth secret is how you can care for this whole hidden world. Because this living soil is far more fragile than it ever looks, and many very common gardening habits can quietly harm it. Drenching the ground in harsh, powerful chemicals can quickly wipe out much of the life. Leaving the soil bare to bake in the hot summer sun can too. And packing it down hard squeezes the very life right out of it. But caring for it, thankfully, is actually wonderfully simple to do. None of it costs very much, and all of it gives back many times over. Keep the soil covered over, either with plants or with fallen leaves. Add plenty of compost and old plant matter to feed all the workers. Avoid the harsh sprays and poisons that kill the tiny living creatures. And try very hard not to tread it down and crush it flat. Do these few gentle things, and the hidden world below will flourish. It will grow richer and more alive with every single passing season. A dark, soft, sweet-smelling soil is a truly living and healthy one. And a living soil is the greatest single gift your garden can ever have. A healthy garden always begins right down here, in the living soil. We've now uncovered a whole hidden world in just one handful of soil. But the final secret is the most wonderful and beautiful of them all. Here is the seventh and most wonderful secret of them all. Beneath every single step that you take out in your garden, there lies this vast, teeming, and invisible civilization of life. It is far older than we are and far grander than we could ever imagine. It has been here since long before us, and it will remain long after. Billions upon billions of tiny living creatures in every single handful of that soil. Every one of them working quietly and every one of them completely unseen, turning death gently back into life, over and over, without ever once resting. You will never once see it, and yet you could never live without it, holding up your whole garden and indeed the whole of the living world. The ground that you always thought was dead and dirty is truly the most alive place that you will ever touch. So the very next time you hold a handful of soil in your palm, please do not see it as something lowly or unclean. See it instead for the small, quiet, everyday miracle that it truly is. You are cradling billions of living things right there in the palm of your hand. And you are holding the hidden, beating engine of your entire garden, a whole living world resting gently there in your two cupped hands. And that is what your garden has been trying to tell you all along. So the next time you kneel down and gently touch the bare soil, you will know the teeming world of life that is hidden within it. Feed it, cover it, and treat it kindly, and it will reward you richly. A living soil is the quiet, beating heart of every truly healthy garden. If this changed the way you see your garden, subscribe to What the Garden Knows. Every single week, we learn to read one more secret hidden in plain sight. And if you love the wild lives that fill your yard, check out Backyard Wildlife Mind.
It's where we explore all the creatures living just outside your window. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, your garden is always speaking.